WWE is trying to find a #1 contender for Seth Rollins in the Universal Championship at Money in the Bank. The Viking experience is no more. Bobby Roode looks like a porn star. And Bray Wyatt is now Mr. Rogers. All this on the weirdest Monday Night Raw I've ever seen, right here on Off the Script.
Is this what you want? This fucking foliage? Is this what you want? Mr. Dips? Is this what you want? Me standing in front of EC3 buying designer coats? Is this what you want? Me sitting in some hipster hotel in Williamsburg, Brooklyn, fluffing pillows? Is this what you want? I don't believe this. This graffiti art, the hotels, avocado toast. All I want is a fucking Guinness. An ice cold Guinness. What the hell does that mean? Oh, this is what you wanted. This is your Monday Night Raw review right here on Off the Script.
Man, what a weird Monday Night Raw. I really don't know what to say as far as certain things and certain situations that happened on this show. It's so weird that I'm in this weird fucking vortex of I want to like it, but you know me, I always have to question what WWE is doing or what they plan to do or where they're going with this. There was a lot of that feeling on this show tonight. Right from the top, trying to find a #1 contender for Seth Rollins. The tired and true formula of WWE constructing 2 triple threat matches where the winners of these triple threat matches wrestle in the main event to fight for the right to fight said champion. In this case, it's Seth Rollins. I don't necessarily like that. We'll go over why I don't and why I think WWE should have went a different way around it, or about it, I should say. But what's done is done. And at the end of the night, we got AJ Styles and Seth Rollins for the Universal Championship at Money in the Bank. A Money in the Bank pay-per-view that happens 1 week before Double or Nothing in Las Vegas for All Elite Wrestling. Just want to throw that out there as to reasons why WWE is giving such a dream match at Money in the Bank. It's not really the first time we've seen dream matches at Money in the Bank, but this instance, this soon, coming out of WrestleMania, right out of the gate, I have my reservations as to why WWE did that. We'll talk about that later on in the podcast. I don't know what the fuck you guys watched or what you thought with Bobby Roode. We'll go over that as well. Apparently he's got a new porn mustache and is calling himself Robert Roode. I don't know what to think about this, man. I'm like, is he the newest porno star in Hollywood? Or is he actually going to be somewhat similar to what we've seen in NXT, but with a different twist? So, I'm still reserving my judgment on that, but we'll go over that as well. That was one of the major talking points on tonight's Monday Night Raw. Bray Wyatt. We've finally seen Bray Wyatt after months and months and months of being out of action, and apparently he was busy raiding Mr. Rogers' wardrobe. But this time, Mr. Rogers is wielding a chainsaw, and he's talking to creepy puppets, and he's got buzzards coming out of boxes. I don't know what they're doing. We're going to discuss that as well. But, again, it's one of those situations where it's so fucked up at first glance that you don't know what to think. You immediately want to shit on it because that's what we do with WWE. But at the same time, in the most weird, bizarre way, I want to actually accept it. So I don't know what to think about that. The Viking experience got changed. Of course they did. WWE had to change the name because of fan backlash from what I read this afternoon. We'll actually talk about that more tomorrow because I got a whole off-the-script extra dedicated to a bunch of news that happened over the holiday weekend that we'll get into. But they changed the Viking experience, and now they are now the Viking Raiders. So they just molded the Minnesota Vikings and the Raiders football team, and they just squished them together, and here we got the Viking Raiders. But WWE, in typical WWE fashion, they couldn't let the Viking experience name just burn in a fucking flaming fire. They had to keep it around and call it a certain new move that the War Raiders are doing now. Oh, I'm sorry. The Viking Raiders are doing now. So we'll go over that as well. We're going to go over everything Monday Night Raw as always, man. This is the only place you need to be for the most in-depth Monday Night Raw coverage every single week. I read on Twitter that Brian Alvarez tweeted, Monday Night Raw was completed. The script was completed about, I would say, what he said, about 45 minutes before the show went on the air? Probably less than that. Before they hit live on the USA Network. Typical environment in WWE. I read that and then I watch this show and it's nothing out of the ordinary that any one of us could not book. So I don't understand the confusion as to how this show is pieced and put together. This is a very basic, generic, formulaic Monday Night Raw. One in which could have been delivered on Vince McMahon's desk by fucking Friday afternoon before the holiday. But here we are, 45 minutes to a half an hour before Monday Night Raw goes live on the USA Network, and they're still scrambling to get a script together. I don't understand it. This is the most mind-boggling fucking company that I watch on a weekly basis when it comes to professional wrestling, man. I just don't understand it. So I thought that was kind of humorous, but typical bullshit from WWE. We'll go over everything here on the Monday Night Raw review, man. Thank you so much for all the support on Off the Script this weekend, man. It was absolutely great. Off the Script is hitting its stride each and every weekend, especially with all the major news and rumors breaking, man, this past couple of weekends. Sasha Banks, was she promised a match in Saudi Arabia with Bayley defending the women's tag team titles against Beth Phoenix and Natty? That is the main story on part 1 of Off the Script this weekend. We go over all of that. That was major news reported by Brad Shepard of the Oh You Didn't Know podcast. So we go over that. And apparently WWE wants to give Sasha Banks the Money in the Bank briefcase. That is, if she comes back to work. And I am low-key hoping that she doesn't come back to work and she pulls a CM Punk. On part 2, we talked about Road Dogg and the possibility of him being low-key fired from the WWE. Now, I know he wasn't fired. I know for a fact with people who know Road Dogg that he's definitely taking a sabbatical or he's taking a long, much-deserved break away from the WWE. His first vacation in many years since he's been working as an executive for the company. But everything that could have gone wrong here in this situation with Road Dogg could have definitely been avoided. And that whole Hall of Fame ordeal could have definitely been avoided. We talk about that on part 2. So make sure you guys go and check that out. Also, I talk about Roman Reigns and the final chapter of Roman Reigns and the Shield. A complete joke. I did not watch it. I will not go back and watch it. I don't care. So make sure you guys go and check that out. And Luke Harper says goodbye to the WWE. We talk about all that in that Off the Script extra that was uploaded last week as well. Go and check all that stuff out live on the channel right now. Link is in the top right corner in that annotation, man. Follow me on social media at JD from NY206 on both Twitter and Instagram. Hit that subscribe button down below. Turn on that bell for all notifications. Patreon.com/JD from NY206 if you guys want to support the podcast via the Patreon page. If you guys want to go get your t-shirts, man, JDs Elite, one of the best-selling t-shirts in the YouTube wrestling community. My #1 seller of all time. If you guys want to become one of my elite members, link is down below in the description of this very podcast, of this very video. Make sure you guys go and get that today. Still on sale. Get yours this summer, man, and look good and become a part of my elite. Bonfire.com. This podcast is brought to you by Audible. audibletrial.com/offthescript. Audible is one of the major sponsors of what I do here for Off the Script. They're giving you guys 30 days free of their service. and that includes one free audiobook of your choice. Monday Night Raw is the biggest video that I do all week, so make sure you guys go and get something for free just for showing up and listening to me today to hear my thoughts on Monday Night Raw. audibletrial.com/offthescript. Go through the sign-up process. You got 30 days free of their service. You get one free audiobook as a thank you. Over 200,000 choices to choose from, a lot of which are sports and wrestling related. You guys can choose whatever you want, man. You got a plethora of options. Again, that's audibletrial.com/offthescript, man. Go and take advantage of that. Great way to support the show. Des Moines, Iowa. Monday Night Raw. First of all, I got to thank Salrex for this beautiful new layout, man. He's on top of everything like a fucking beast. I asked him I need a new layout because Roman Reigns was in my old layout. Tired of looking at him on Monday nights. Unfortunately, we got to look at him on Tuesday. So, Salrex gave me a brand new, crisp, clean layout, man. If you guys need his services, as always, you know where to find him on Twitter. I'll link him down in the comment section as well. If you guys need anything, if you're a content creator, thumbnails, layouts, graphics design, he is your man, man. Go get, he is your man, man. I don't know why I keep saying man all the time, but whatever, man. It's my shtick. Go and hit him up down in the comment section below, man. He is all you need as far as that goes. Monday Night Raw opened up with Triple H. Triple H comes out, and I figured that this would be some big announcement. When Triple H is usually there, you know, it's of some importance. I was hoping that he was going to come out and low-key say, fuck the Viking experience, bring out my War Raiders. One could dream. One could dream. Triple H is in the ring, and he talks about Seth Rollins. He talks about Seth Rollins, and Seth then eventually comes on out. They hugged. Apparently, all their past experiences are now water under the bridge. So, Seth is in the ring, and fans are really going crazy because this is Seth Rollins' hometown. Burn it down. They're chanting. They're giving him a hometown welcome. Seth Rollins said that this whole thing is surreal. Now, Triple H, before having Seth Rollins come on out, he was going over the title match as far as referencing Seth Rollins at Money in the Bank. Tonight, we're going to find out a number one contender for Seth Rollins. 2 triple threat matches, one being Baron Corbin, Drew McIntyre, and The Miz. Please give me my NyQuil so I don't have to sit through this. And then AJ Styles, Rey Mysterio, and Samoa Joe. Joe just magically moved to Monday Night Raw with no explanation. I'm guessing they're figuring that the fans are the ones to figure this one out on their own because Finn Balor moved to SmackDown Live, so they figured the fans would realize that there can't be 2 mid-card titles on SmackDown Live, and Joe, by default, would have to be moved over to Monday Night Raw. So thank you for letting us in on that little tidbit, Mr. Michael Cole, which they did not, I don't think, but normally when he speaks, I zone out anyway. So we got 2 triple threat matches. Rollins says this whole thing is surreal to him. He's standing in his home state with the WWE Universal title after all they've been through together, indicating that he meant the fans, but he also kind of indirectly mentioned Triple H. It doesn't get any more surreal than that, says Seth Rollins. He said at WrestleMania he did what he said he was going to do, and he slayed the beast, brought the title back home to Raw. Triple H said indeed he did do what he was going to go out in WrestleMania and do, and he stomped what he called Brock Lesnar a bucket head. Triple H says he stomped his bucket head into the ring 3 times at WrestleMania. I'm sure Brock Lesnar didn't even watch the show. I don't blame him, so the insult of bucket head, I'm sure, will go unnoticed. Brock Lesnar doesn't give a shit. He collected his fucking paycheck. He's off shooting deer somewhere in Saskatchewan. So Triple H said the landscape has changed through the superstar shakeup. It even changed today when they moved Aleister Black away from Ricochet over to SmackDown Live, Andrade and Zelina over to SmackDown Live, and they moved Cesaro from SmackDown to Monday Night Raw. That was that. So WWE will go over why they did all this tomorrow on Off the Script Extra. It has nothing to do with Fox Sports. Absolutely nothing to do with Fox Sports. So if you guys are hearing something along the lines of Fox requested Andrade, Cien Almas, and Zelina Vega on SmackDown Live for Tuesday nights, or Friday nights, I should say, soon on Fox Sports, it is fake news. That is not the reason. The real reason is because of relationship drama in WWE. We'll go over that tomorrow. I'm sure you guys can figure that one out without even me explaining it to you. So the landscape has changed through the superstar shakeup. He said now that he is the standard bearer, is Rollins, and the measuring stick on Raw. He said the whole world is gunning for him. He said that he knows a lot, Rollins, about Money in the Bank, and he's been on both ends of it. He cashed it in, and he's been cashed in on. Triple H said he should be worried about whom he's defending his title against that night. Seth asked if Heyman has been blowing up his phone about Brock Lesnar getting a rematch for the Universal Championship. Triple H said he hasn't heard from either Heyman or Brock Lesnar, and he assumed Lesnar was still in Las Vegas licking his wounds. I wish I was in Las Vegas with a nice cold beverage in my hand. Now, Seth asked, so what's next? Triple H then said that they'll find out tonight because the best of the best have landed here on Monday Night Raw. Sure they have. Sure they have. If you consider Baron Corbin the best of the best, I don't know what to fucking tell you, man. You might have a few screws loose. So, we got the 2 triple threat matches, and that is going to be a way that Rollins is going to have a contender at Money in the Bank. Out comes Samoa Joe, your United States champion. Gentlemen, it seems I missed my invitation, he says. He said he does what he wants when he wants. Said the U.S. champion has arrived on Raw. He said our girl Becky Lynch has come up with an interesting concept carrying around 2 title belts. Joe said there's room for another belt over his wide shoulder that the Universal title would look perfect on. I would have to agree with Mr. Samoa Joe. He pointed at Seth's title, Rey Mysterio. Before Joe says any more, Rey Mysterio comes on out. He told Joe that he's not the only SmackDown superstar looking to make an impact on Raw, or I should say former SmackDown superstar. I guess Rey's ankle is okay. So there you go. So we got Rey Mysterio, Joe, and Seth Rollins in the ring. Out comes Drew McIntyre. It's like a fucking car of circus clowns just coming out one after the other. We got Drew McIntyre comes on out. He says he spent a year in WWE clearing the way of dead weight. And he's had no title opportunities. Well, why don't you go talk to Vince McMahon and tell him, boss, I'm tired of being in the same fucking matches over and over and over and over and over and over and over again with fucking Dean Ambrose, Roman Reigns, and Seth Rollins. And I was billed as the guy to take over this jungle known as Monday Night Raw, and here I am fucking picking up scraps underneath the table at fucking catering. So Drew McIntyre came out, says he's had no title opportunities. He told Seth the only reason he's Universal Champion is because he got to Brock Lesnar before he did. Something I'd still like to see eventually. Don't think we'll get it, but the thought is there. Said he knows what he's capable of. He said he will win the triple threat and go on to Money in the Bank, and he will finally be the Universal Champion. Out comes the D-lister, The Miz, who I still can't get behind as a babyface. He said, first of all, the A-lister comes back to Monday Night Raw, and I have had what they call in the movie business a reboot of sorts. He says he's not the same man that Seth remembers. I remember that him and Seth Rollins had a fantastic match for the Intercontinental Championship once upon a time. And I don't think that I'd like to see it now for the Universal Championship, but, you know, I do remember their classic matchup at Backlash for the Intercontinental Championship. Probably one of the best matches of the year, that year. So, he says that the past few months have shown him that he could be a certain man and that he is a man worthy of the Universal Championship. He said he thinks he is more of a must-see guy to headline Money in the Bank with Seth Rollins than any of these other guys there. Baron Corbin then comes out next. The last and biggest clown of them all. And, actually, no, AJ comes out, but I don't consider him in the same league as all these other guys. But Corbin said he's the most deserving man to challenge Seth. Said at WrestleMania, he may have slayed the beast, but he retired a legend. He asked if anyone else in the ring has defeated a legend in their farewell match. If that's the one thing you're hanging your hat on, Mr. Baron Corbin, then I think you're a fucking loser before this thing even begins. Then AJ Styles comes out, stood on stage. Graves says he is one of the most acclaimed additions to the Raw roster. He's looking to add the Universal title to his impressive resume. So he gets up in everybody's face and he, yells at Corbin and says, "Your face is almost as annoying as your voice." Styles says it seemed everyone has forgotten that AJ Styles is on Raw, and Styles predicted victory tonight and victory at Money in the Bank. Seth said everyone is gunning for him, and he is ready. I hate openings like this because it's Triple H who was out there who did nothing but, pander in a babyface manner. He didn't really act like an authority figure, especially him coming off of his match with Batista, which kind of presented him in a babyface light to begin with, just a little bit. Back on Monday Night Raw here, he's pandering to the fans. Out comes Seth Rollins. They're all buddy-buddy with one another, which was nauseating in itself. And then one after the other, in the most formulaic, boring, lazy, and uncreative way possible, we got one guy come out, he speaks his mind, theme music goes off for the next, another guy comes out, rinse and repeat. This is what WWE thinks is entertaining television to start Monday Night Raw. What did we get out of this segment? Everybody primarily said the same fucking thing to make a case for themselves, and it went nowhere. I don't know why we had to sit through this to get to the triple threat match. Why didn't they start hot with the better of the triple threat matches with Styles, Mysterio, and Samoa Joe right out of the gate? Did we really need to waste 20 minutes on this opening segment? I don't know. I don't know how you guys feel. The triple threat match in itself was not bad. The other triple threat match, I didn't really give a shit about. And neither did fucking Des Moines, Iowa. But I am not for these opening segments. It's fucking lazy. And the fact that WWE did this, I don't know when the last time they did it was. I could really remember that they did this not too long ago. I know they did it with Finn Balor when he won the Universal Championship against Seth Rollins at SummerSlam before he got injured. He beat Roman Reigns on that Monday Night Raw where they drafted him from NXT. That was back in 2016, I believe. I don't know why they go with these fucking tired and boring formulas to figure out who's the number one contender for Seth Rollins or any championship for that matter. I really don't understand it. It's lazy creative writing. Now, what I would have did is completely opposite. WWE should have been building towards Money in the Bank with qualifiers. That's what they should have been doing. I don't know how many people are going to be in the Money in the Bank ladder match this year, whether it's going to be 6 or 8. It might be 8, because both of these rosters are loaded on Monday night and Tuesday night. SmackDown actually got the better end of the deal right now with the move of Black and Andrade going over to Tuesday nights. Cesaro did move over to Monday Night Raw, but I think that gave the shakeup. Originally was in Monday Night Raw's favor, now it's swung it in SmackDown Live's favor. I would have had Money in the Bank qualifiers, whether it's 2 or 3 tonight for Raw, or I would have had 2 tonight, 2 on SmackDown, 2 the next week on Raw, 2 the next week on SmackDown. They should have made it a priority to build the qualifying matches for Money in the Bank to see who gets into the ladder match. Same thing with the women. They should have started that with the women as well, because I'm assuming the women are going to get qualifying matches. Instead, they did it backwards. They gave you the opportunity tonight to find out who's going to be the number one contender for Seth Rollins in the Universal Championship. At the end of the night, it ended up being AJ Styles. And I'll tell you why, when we get to that portion of the show, why I think they booked this match now, when this realistically is a WrestleMania match happening in May, right out of the gate, right after the Superstar Shakeup, which I don't agree with. They're building the Universal Championship here, the Universal Championship match, and putting that they're making that a priority over the Money in the Bank ladder match, where this is one of those pay-per-views that you don't really need a blow-away championship match on either brand. It could be someone out of the ordinary. Now, I didn't want to see Baron Corbin fucking main event this show for the Universal Championship. I really didn't. But what I'm trying to get at is they have the opportunity with the ladder matches to make the ladder matches the most important aspect of the show and build a true new star. You have the opportunity. You have an easy out for this month to get away with a subpar Universal Championship match at this pay-per-view. Now, all the losers tonight, they already fought for their opportunity at the Universal Championship. What are they going to do now? Most of the guys that you've seen on Monday Night Raw tonight in these triple threat matches are only going to be placed in qualifying matches if WWE goes that route. They're going to be placed in qualifying matches, or they're just going to end up in the Money in the Bank ladder match just by WWE's picking. Anyway, I don't really get it. It's backwards. It's backwards. You put these guys in an opportunity for the Universal Championship, then you give them an opportunity again for the Universal Championship? Why? Why wasn't Seth Rollins' opponent figured out last, and the Money in the Bank ladder match made a priority for all these guys? And how are you determining who's in these these triple threat matches anyway with these 6 guys? How are you determining that? It's like one guy came out right after the other. It's like, oh, no, it's my chance. Oh, no, you got that wrong. It's my chance. It's like literally they came out of a fucking clown car. And this is why I don't understand what WWE's logic is. How are they getting these names in title contention? What are these men doing outside that he is an AJ Styles or he is a Rey Mysterio? What has Drew McIntyre done to get an opportunity at the World Championship? What has Baron Corbin done? What has Rey Mysterio done? Nothing. This is why I feel WWE has... This is the product of too many pay-per-views. This is the product of laziness. They need a match, and they rush to get a match with no logic. This is why wins and losses are important. This is why winning streaks on TV are important. This is why competition for this type of thing is important. There's no order here. There's no order here. You put 6 guys randomly in 2 triple threat matches for the sake of getting Seth Rollins an opponent just because you needed him to defend the title against somebody at Money in the Bank with literally no thought behind it. Now, I don't operate that way. I want everything to make sense. But to the fucking plebeian who's watching this show, you'll accept it and bend over backwards for WWE's bullshit. I don't like it. Now, I want more out of my shows. If you like simple-minded fucking brainless television, then Monday Night Raw is for you. And whatever I'm saying is not for you. But I know what I'm saying makes fucking sense, and what Monday Night Raw did is fucking lazy. I'm sorry. Samoa Joe versus AJ Styles versus Rey Mysterio. Like I said, I'm assuming Rey Mysterio's ankle is better. I understand why this match happened here with Mysterio and Joe. Kind of gets them in the ring together following that 60-second squash at WrestleMania for Samoa Joe, which made Joe look like a beast. And I understand the pairing of these 3 because they all have legitimate history. So there's no way that this match was going to be bad in any way. This one was very, very action-packed. It almost went 20 minutes. Again, I don't know why this just didn't start the fucking show right at the top of the hour. AJ Styles wins here with an unbelievable ending. Rey set up for a superplex on Styles to the floor. Then Joe joined in. Styles and Rey gave Joe a double blockbuster, and all 3 landed incredibly hard down below on the mat. Joe actually went for a near fall there on Styles, and Styles kicked out. Back and forth towards the end of this thing, a lot of big moves, near falls. Styles caught Rey midair, and then he gave Rey a Styles clash into Joe, who was laying on the floor. He Styles clashed Rey into Joe to score the pinfall. And that was a really, really unique way to end this match. AJ Styles ends up winning a spot in the main event of Monday Night Raw to challenge for the #1 contendership of the Universal Championship. We had Naomi versus Billie Kay. Now, something here that I noticed with Peyton Royce. They just simply announced her as Peyton. Now, I don't know if this is official. I don't know if we have another butchering of a name, but they simply announced her as Peyton. Billie Kay with Peyton. So we'll see what happens in the coming days. But they are your WWE Women's Tag Team Champions, the Idiotics. Billie and Peyton. This one went 1 minute. And you all thought the WWE was going to do right by the tag team titles. You all thought adding tag team titles in general was going to be a good thing for the WWE. Oh my God, man. These titles are as worthless as the fucking lint in my jeans pocket. They are absolutely fucking irrelevant. Irrelevant. I'm sorry. Whoever wanted Billie Kay and Peyton Royce as the women's tag team champions, whoever thought that it was a good creative idea to take them off of Sasha Banks and Bayley at WrestleMania, you are a fucking blithering idiot. You should not even be talking wrestling at all. Forget watching it. You should not be talking about it. Remove it from your vocabulary. You are a fucking clown. These titles are absolutely fucking worthless. This little clay figurine of my cat Bacardi is worth more than the women's tag team titles. Seriously. Seriously. Awful. Absolutely awful. And what do you think? Sasha Banks. Poor old Sasha Banks sitting at home, wherever she may be on this Monday, Tuesday evening. Right? Tuesday night, Tuesday morning, whenever the fuck you're watching me. I wonder what Sasha Banks is thinking. Poor old Sasha Banks. They took the titles off of her and Bayley to put them on Billie Kay and Peyton Royce, and look at what they're doing to the tag team championships. It is fucking disgusting. Absolutely disgusting. This match ended in 1 minute. 1 minute. We got Naomi winning in 1 minute. Now, we had a flying elbow into a kip-up. Okay, well, this is Naomi, by the way. A roundhouse kick, clothesline, and a flying elbow, kip-up, followed by a chop, and then a sunset flip after Peyton Royce tried to distract Naomi, and that was it. Sunset flip for the win. Peyton Royce and Billie Kay threw a temper tantrum after. I'm sure Sasha Banks and Bayley are doing the same fucking thing watching this garbage. Graves said they're cursed, or maybe Naomi has their number. I think they're fucking terrible, Graves. This is why they are the worst female performers on the planet. But again, I ask, how many of you who told me the tag team titles are going to be a good thing for the division still think that way? I'm sure none of you. Awful. And how many tag teams are on Monday Night Raw to a point where they have competition? Are the Riot Squad even a fucking team? Still? After Liv Morgan now moved to SmackDown Live? Tamina and Nia Jax are no longer a fucking team, with Nia Jax out with double ACL surgery. How many teams are there? WWE has done nothing to help this division along the way since February. These titles died quicker than anyone could have ever imagined. I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised at all. So we went into hour 2. Baron Corbin versus Drew McIntyre versus The Miz, number 1 contendership qualifier, triple threat match. Baron Corbin wins here. This was ultimately boring. Absolutely fucking boring. Des Moines, Iowa knew it too. I don't even fucking blame them. I mean, I don't know how you could get excited about Baron Corbin and Drew McIntyre, two heels right now that are generating no interest, and then you're going to put a babyface, a weak babyface in The Miz to challenge two guys like this. Miz is not the type of babyface that I want to see in this role. He is not as hard-hitting as anybody else. So, him in that role, that was a failure right from the word go. Baron Corbin wins here, surprisingly, in 15 minutes. Drew McIntyre hit a spinebuster and flipped into a jackknife cover on The Miz. Miz DDT'd Drew. Corbin then came in to intervene. Miz DDT'd Corbin for a near fall. Miz clotheslined Corbin over the top rope, so he's taken out of the match momentarily. Drew McIntyre then, out of nowhere, hits the Claymore. Corbin then comes back in and knocks Drew out of the ring, stole the 3 count, and he advances to the main event against AJ Styles to determine a number 1 contender. A lot of people are looking at me and asking me on Twitter, what are they doing to Drew McIntyre? I don't know. I don't know. All I could tell you from the bottom of my soul, maybe they're saving Drew McIntyre for SummerSlam. I don't know. I don't think the guy has any momentum right now. And they really haven't done any favors for Drew McIntyre. He's always losing. He's always losing. So what is the point of getting behind Drew McIntyre when WWE has done nothing for us to legitimately care about him? This guy was groomed as the next big heel on this brand. And they've dropped the ball every single fucking time. And you know what? I don't want to mention him because he's not on this fucking show anymore. The Roman agenda or the Shield agenda has really stifled Drew McIntyre. And I mean that wholeheartedly. This is what WWE has used Drew McIntyre for. As fucking garbage, just whatever, in this Shield feud that meant nothing more to WWE than extra merchandise money. So Drew McIntyre was worth a sacrifice for all this bullshit with the Shield. Now look at it. All the damage they have done is now showing its ugly head. And I don't know what to think. I really don't. I'm not excited about a Seth Rollins versus Drew McIntyre match anyway. I'm not. In fact, if AJ Styles is the Universal Champion, I'd much rather see Styles versus McIntyre for the Universal Championship. We've seen Rollins versus McIntyre how many times without the title? We don't need to see it with the title because it's not going to make any difference whatsoever. Baron Corbin steals the victory. He advances to the main event against AJ Styles. Charlie Caruso then approached AJ Styles with Baron Corbin in the ring after stealing his victory from Drew McIntyre. He said, "It's the size of the fight in the dog that counts." And he's a bulldog with a lot of fight in him. They showed Corbin watching and listening from the ring. Styles listed his resume to battle Corbin, always touting his resume. Which is what exactly? Beating Kurt Angle at WrestleMania, a 50-year-old, fucking decrepit, broken down old man? What else is on your resume, Mr. Corbin? The fact that you failed Money in the Bank against Jinder Mahal, who was already in a 15-minute match against John Cena? Please. Your resume is not even good enough for fucking Wendy's. Never mind Applebee's. Fucking clown. Sami Zayn's in the ring. Sami Zayn made his way. I am loving Sami Zayn. Sami Zayn is filling that void while Daniel Bryan is out, hopefully recuperating from an undisclosed injury. I hope it's not as bad as people are making it out to be, but we really don't know. Sami said nobody likes to hear about how they're incessantly negative. I'm negative for all the right reasons. I have a reason to be negative. There's nothing positive to talk about with Monday Night Raw, so I have a reason to be negative, Mr. Zayn. He said they rejected with denial and deflection, including a false narrative about him, that he became a bitter person during his time away from the ring. He says he's not bitter, and in fact, he's jubilant. I'm a happy person, says Sami Zayn. He said in the 10 months he was away, it was the happiest time of his life. Yeah, of course, you're away from Monday Night Raw. Who wouldn't be happy? Who wouldn't be happy? Go ask Sasha Banks that same question. I'm sure she would give you the same response. He said in 10 months, it was the happiest time of his life. He began showing vacation photos on the big screen. You know what? I would rather watch 3 hours of Sami Zayn vacation photos than watch 3 hours of Monday Night Raw. Just being honest with you. I'm sure you guys agree with me as well. He showed a picture of himself hiking in Switzerland, reconnecting with nature, spirituality. Then in Norway, he said after the picture was taken, he dropped to his knees and burst into tears. It's usually what I do when I finish watching Monday Night Raw. I drop to my hands and knees and ask myself, why did I torture myself? And I cry before I actually hit record. Then he was on a hammock in Mexico. Sounds good. I was wrapped up like a cute sausage roll, he says. Then in Scotland, he asked if they have ever been, or if they've ever seen such an unbridled joy. A lot of Monday Night Raw fucking puns in here, man. A lot of Monday Night Raw isms in this. Unbridled joy is what I feel when Monday Night Raw is off the fucking air. I know it's commonplace, it's cheesy, but it's fucking true, man. You gotta say it. He said he was living life, he was living the good life, But as his return to WWE was approaching, he began having feelings of depression and anxiety, like a dark cloud was hanging over his... I swear to God, I think Sami Zayn is my spirit child. Sami Zayn is our spirit child, folks. There's no way you can boo this man. There's no way you could boo him. Said he figured out that something was making him sick, such as perhaps the corporate structure that he doesn't always agree with, or being surrounded by other WWE superstars who are total egomaniacs, who are totally delusional and entitled. That's not good for your soul, he says. He says that he thought that he finally figured out what was wrong, and he figured out that the fans were the problem. He asked some of the fans if it makes them feel good to boo him. He says it feels good because it's easier to blame him than look in the mirror and hold yourselves accountable for their role in all of this. He points to the crowd and says, I'm making you responsible. Sami then went on and said that he'd rather be traveling the world and anywhere else on earth but depressed Des Moines, Iowa. He says if the fans have a problem with that, they can take a page out of his book and go on a trip. He then asked, does that sound nice? He jumped around the ring in the greatest way possible. I started smiling. He asked again, does that sound nice? You want to take a trip? You can go, all of you could go straight to hell. And that's what he did. Dropped the mic and he danced his way out of the ring. I'm loving this gimmick. I really am loving this gimmick. This is one of the most entertaining aspects of Monday Night Raw. I don't know where they're going with it. I don't know who's going to ultimately come and try and shut him up. But whatever Sami is doing right now, I'm reading from reports that WWE is giving him the freedom to write his own promos as long as he stays within the boundaries. And he's absolutely fucking killing it. Absolutely killing it right now. I have no idea where they're going with this, but there's no way you could possibly hate any of this. This is just entertaining stuff by Sami Zayn. We know what he can do in the ring. We know the type of heel he could be. This is just taking him to that next level. And I'm glad WWE is giving him the platform to do that and show us. So I'm loving this, man. Wherever it's going, I'm with Sami Zayn. I'm a huge Sami Zayn mark. Always was. I will continue to be. And I'm excited to see where this goes. Cedric Alexander made his way out to the ring. He crossed Sami as he came out, walked the ramp. Sami went to the back. Cedric Alexander had a match with Cesaro. Now, this was the first match for Cedric on Monday Night Raw as part of the Raw roster. Cesaro was moved from SmackDown Live to Monday Night Raw in exchange for Aleister Black, Zelina Vega, and Andrade Cien Almas. Now, that doesn't really sound like a fair trade, and like I said, we'll go over the reasons why those moves were made, but one thing people aren't talking about, and I don't know how they would have factored into the tag team division on SmackDown Live anyway, but they were a formidable tag team, and Sheamus is out right now, so not at the moment, maybe, but a formidable tag team nonetheless. You took Cesaro, and you put him on Monday Night Raw, away from Sheamus. You split up the bar. You took another tag team from an already depleted Monday Night Raw tag team division, and left them with one less tag team. I don't know how many tag teams are over there now, but I can cite 3. We got the not the Usos. We got the Hardys. The Usos are on Raw. I got to get used to that. We got the Hardys, Heavy Machinery, and the New Day. Are they going to use the club? Who else do they have? The fucking Colognes? I mean, I don't understand the neglect on the SmackDown side for tag teams. Unless Sheamus is going to move over to Monday Night Raw with Cesaro when he comes back. I don't get it. Why would we be interested in seeing a Sheamus singles run? A Cesaro singles run I could get behind. But a Sheamus singles run? That's a guy right now that needs Cesaro, in my opinion. I don't have any interest in seeing him fight for any mid-card title or become a main event guy on SmackDown Live. I doubt he will be. But I don't want to see him in any type of role without Cesaro. They're much better together. I don't get it. I really don't. We'll figure it out when Sheamus comes back from injury, where he lands. But this was just a weird, bizarre move. One that really wasn't explained. This was actually a very good TV match. Cedric Alexander is a great fucking professional wrestler. He is great at what he does. I love his look. I love what he does in the ring. This was a match I was very excited about, and this could be the start of a Cesaro run. Possibly. I don't know. You know, for years, people have wanted a Cesaro run at the top. I doubt WWE is going to do it, but man, if they strike it with Cesaro and he catches fire, I would go all in on Cesaro, man. He is too good to be without a fucking championship. I know they won't do it because Vince apparently doesn't like his mic skills, or he's not that type of guy when he's got a microphone in the hand. You know, he doesn't connect, apparently, to Vince McMahon, to the WWE Universe the way that he wants. Whatever excuse they're going to throw at you, the guy's a great fucking professional wrestler. And I feel like he deserves an opportunity. You know, we all got behind Kofi Kingston after 11 years, and he won the WWE Championship. Why can't we get behind Cesaro to do the same fucking thing? I would love to see it. This was a great match. Now, everybody wanted or thought Cedric Alexander was going to win his debut match. Cedric Alexander is just like Mustafa Ali. He's playing the Mustafa Ali role on Monday Night Raw, like Ali is doing on SmackDown Live. The guy is a come-from-behind, grade A, clear-cut babyface. So, having him lose here is not the end of the world. We know what he can do. He's got that ability to get you invested in what he's doing. He takes a beating and he keeps on ticking. You know, the fucking cheesy line. I love it. I think it's great. Cesaro here on his own, away from Sheamus, on Raw. First match out there, all by himself. He needed a win. He needed to look dominant here. Needed to have a big win. And it came in the form of Cedric Alexander. In a great way, too. Michinoku driver. Cedric hit a flying flip onto Cesaro at ringside, or a tope. He leaped off the top rope. Cesaro caught him in a springboard with a European uppercut that nearly took his head off. Cesaro wins in 7 minutes. This could be a damn good feud if WWE allows it to be. And I hope that they have something planned for Cesaro if he's going to be a single on Monday Night Raw. I'm okay with Cedric Alexander losing here. I really am. So we'll see what happens with both of these guys. But this was a damn good TV match on Monday Night Raw. The Usos are backstage. And they're being interviewed by Charlie Caruso. Jay made a joke about Jimmy drinking and driving. I laughed my ass off. So a nice little tongue-in-cheek fucking stab at one another there for their recent arrest. So, and by the way, drinking and driving is not a laughing matter. Please, don't do it. Don't do it. I don't know why they made a joke out of it. It's actually a very serious fucking thing, but it's the fucking Usos. So, either way you look at it, it is what it is. As they talked about the tag team division on Monday Night Raw, Kurt Hawkins and Zack Ryder walked in. The Revival were there. Or they didn't walk in. They were shown later on. But they were running down everybody. They were running down the War Raiders. And they were running down Kurt Hawkins and Zack Ryder. In come the Revival. This is Raw. This is top guy territory. This is the Revival reformatory, if you will. And the Usos are standing there. And not only do the Revival put people to sleep when they wrestle, apparently, they put the Usos to sleep just by speaking. Because Jimmy and Jay Uso, while Charlie Caruso was interviewing the Revival who interrupted the Usos were standing there and they fell asleep during the Revival's promo to them. So that's what WWE thinks about the Revival. But I got excited, me, and I'm sure you guys did, about the possibility of this being the top feud for the tag team titles on Monday Night Raw. This is the caliber of competition that the Revival have waited for a long time on Monday Night Raw. And I can't wait to see what these two teams do together in the ring. This gives me a sense of hope, at least for a little bit, on what tag team wrestling could be on Monday Night Raw. Remember the matches with the Revival and American Alpha? Or the Revival versus Enzo and Cass when they were down there? Some pretty damn good tag team fucking matches down there, man. You know, the Revival versus DIY, the standard bearer for tag team matches in NXT. Obviously, NXT and tag team wrestling goes hand in hand. This is what it could feel like if the WWE allows the Revival and the Usos to go at it. I hope so. I hope so. I just don't like the fact that people are making fun of the Revival as they put people to sleep in and out of the ring. It is what it is. The Viking Raiders made their way to the ring. Cole said they had their debut on Raw, and WWE Universe was talking about them in more ways than one. Kind of indirectly, acknowledging the backlash to the name change, which should have never been, on Monday Night Raw last week during the Superstar Shakeup. Yes, Michael Cole, they're talking about the fucking Viking Raiders in the most negative way. Nobody was talking about them in a positive light, you fucking clown. I don't know why he's pretty much telling you, yeah, the name sucked and we fucked up, but we don't care. Fucking ridiculous. Anyway, they changed their name to the Viking Raiders now. I said it on Twitter. It was reported by PW Insider. They changed the name this afternoon. It still sucks. The name still sucks. I don't know if it's a case where WWE intentionally gave them the worst fucking name possible last week, pretended to listen to the fans to change it to something just as equally terrible, so that we accept the name anyway because we changed it from the fucking worst name they could have possibly gave them. I don't know what this company is thinking. The name change was not necessary. It was never necessary at all. And the funny thing is, when these guys came out and they did their intro and they did their shtick in the middle of the ring, Hanson and Rowe, because I refuse to call them Ivar and Eric, Hanson and Rowe did the war hand gesture right before they went to commercial tonight. I don't know if you guys seen that. So clearly, people were still chanting it, by the way. People in Des Moines, Iowa, Hickville, were still chanting fucking war as Hanson and Rowe started doing the war chant. So it can't be the war phrase or the war chant that made Vince McMahon go and change the name. Because if it was anything having to do with war, then Vince McMahon would have effective immediately canceled this bullshit. This would be no more. So it's not war. It's Vince McMahon changing the fucking name for the sake of changing the name. Why does NXT even exist? And that's not the first time I'm going to mention that tonight. Why does NXT exist? If you take something, I don't know why I'm talking about this again. I don't know what else I could say after what I went off on last week. How could you sit there and think this is a good idea? Triple H creates, Vince McMahon kills. There was no reason for the name change. You established these guys for a full fucking year in NXT, and you get that gimmick over in NXT only to change it just for the simple sake of changing it. If that is not damaging to your brand overall, I don't know what is. The man is senile. Again, I ask you, I don't even know why NXT exists. If this was an issue, then it should have never been a thing in NXT. If NXT thought it was going to be good and a right direction for these guys, they wouldn't have instilled it upon them as part of their gimmick. If War or the War Raiders was such a bad deal, then it would have never even made the fucking cutting room floor in NXT. So Vince McMahon changed it just for the sake of changing it. He damages and takes from NXT because what they're doing is much better than whatever he's doing. And it fucking irks the shit out of him. His son-in-law is creating, and Vince can't create anymore. So he takes what's good, and he fucking makes it his own. Or takes what Triple H has done, and uses it as a way to embarrass NXT. In a way, and I've said this before, I'm changing what you had because what you had didn't work. I'm going to make it work, and I'm going to show you. You're not going to stand me up. You're not going to prove that you're better than me at what I'm doing. So, remember that. Remember that. Because this match with the Lucha House Party didn't even get up off the ground. The bell didn't even ring. The War Raiders, the Viking Raiders, destroyed the Lucha House Party. And they did that spot where Hanson catches their opponent. Rowe tosses him up. Hanson catches him, slams him down with the power slam. You know what they named that? You know what that new move is now called? Oh, that's not a new move. They've been doing it in NXT. You know what the move is now called? It's called the Viking Experience. So, Vince McMahon is the type of man to take something that he knows is fucked up, still use it because he doesn't want you to think that he made a mistake. He had to incorporate that fucking name into their moveset now just because we fucking hate it. We all called him out on it. He changed the name because of fan backlash, but he's like, okay, we'll do you one favor. We'll do you a favor, WWE Universe. We'll listen to you guys, but fuck you at the same time. The Viking experience, instead of fucking throwing that shit into the fucking flame and having it fucking burn, he continues to use it. I am telling you, this is his mentality. He is not going to sit there. I'm surprised he didn't do anything with Well, he did with Ricochet and Aleister Black, making these little subtle nuanced changes to their fucking entrances. He changes because he doesn't want to be outdone. There's no reason why these guys should have been brought up in the first place. At all. At all. And again, a second week in a row. Why aren't they coming out with the NXT tag team titles? You didn't see Kevin Owens just come out and say, fuck the NXT title when he was feuding with John Cena. Where are the tag team titles? Aren't they still tag team champions in NXT? Why not get the brand over with these guys who are still representing the top of the tag team division over there? Fuck them. Fuck them. If Vince cared about NXT, that little logic hole there, that would have been something that they would not have overlooked. If they cared, they would have been out there with the tag team titles. They don't. And it's a fucking shame. So, Sarah Schreiber interviewed Ryder and Hawkins. Ryder said the whole world saw the Raiders go absolutely berserk out there. Fucking ridiculous. That was the other name, reportedly, that they wanted to name them. The Berserkers. Sure. So, Ryder says that they won't let the smelly, horny, woolly mammoths storm in here and take what we've earned. Ha 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 ha. Garbage. Those guys are merely holding the fucking titles until WWE is ready to give them to the War Raiders sooner rather than later. Moving on here. Becky Lynch came out. Becky, 2 belts. Stood in the middle of the ring with her 2 belts, which is getting old, by the way. Don't know why she's out there holding 2 belts. Now, WWE, I don't know what they're doing with these titles, if they're going to unify the fucking divisions, if they're going to unify the titles. I don't know. As of right now, they simply use this fucking gimmick to make the match bigger than it really was, and they're doing nothing with it when they have storylines right there that they could dive into and have fun with, but they refuse to do so. She stood in the middle of the ring. Found out last week that our first challenger would be Lacey Evans, the woman who likes to sucker punch the man. She said she's thrown a few sneaky left hands on occasion. She said her issue isn't with the punches, but the woman throwing it. She said she's made a career of slapping bleached blondes who have curried favors from management. Now, this is not Becky mocking the fans. This is actually Becky. And Becky didn't write this promo. She had somebody write this promo for her. WWE riddles truth in these promos for you to think Becky is throwing a jab at Lacey Evans, but what she's really doing is throwing a jab at Lacey Evans because this is how women like Lacey Evans and Alexa Bliss and Charlotte Flair all get over. This is why Alexa Bliss is a 6-time women's champion. This is why Lacey Evans is the first challenger for Becky Lynch. She curries favors in the back. You don't think it's fucking real? You think it's just a line in there to pop a fucking reaction from the audience? No, folks, this is fact. This is fact. WWE is riddling these promos with hidden truths. This is just not a one-liner to say, oh, man, Becky got one good on Lacey Evans. No. Lacey Evans is a bleached blonde with big breasts who has curried favors in the back. No question. It has nothing to do with her military background. It has nothing to do with what she's earned. She hasn't earned a fucking dime in the middle of that ring. Yet she's getting a title match? Why is that? You have to be a fucking blind fool to not figure that one out. Ridiculous. So, she mentioned currying favors from management. She paused and reacted as it sunk in what she was implying. Because it's true. She added, as Lacey is in the back trying to further her career, another one, what is she doing to further her career? Use your imagination, folks. Use your imagination. Now, she goes on to say, Lacey is in the back trying to further her career, but I'm out here ready to fight anyone to cement mine. She called out Alicia Fox, but instead Lacey made her way out. Lacey told Becky to allow a lady to educate her on what it means to be a lady. Maybe Becky should educate you on how to be a professional wrestler. How about that? We don't need lessons in being a lady. How about you get lessons to be a fucking professional wrestler? She said a lady is always in complete control of her emotions, and she's never a show-off. She said she will show Becky how to respect a lady with a woman's right. She said these 2 titles around her waist will be hers. At that point, I was confused. Are both titles on the line, or is just the Raw title on the line? So Lacey Evans must have not gotten the memo. Maybe someone in Creative promised her both titles for her curried favors. So she said both titles will be hers. Becky said she's trying to enjoy the last few weeks, but Lacey, you're an absolute plank, and you're getting on my last nerve. She said fans want to see her slap her head off her shoulders. Becky said her recent happiness shouldn't be confused with contentment. She said she will go to Money in the Bank and dismantle her because she can, and it's time for the man to go back to collecting her debts. Everything was fine here, but if you think that what these women said is just for the sake of a promo here to build up a title match, you are sadly mistaken. This is real, folks. The political pull in WWE is now being revealed and exposed through promos between these 2 women. Open your eyes and clear your mind as to what's going on. It's real. It's real. Alicia Fox versus Becky Lynch. This one went 9 minutes. It should have went 9 seconds. I don't know why Alicia Fox, A, is in the ring on Monday Night Raw. B, is employed. Why is she on this show? Shouldn't she be at a fucking bar somewhere getting drunk? You fucking alcoholic. Alicia Fox and Becky Lynch. This is a woman who pinned Ronda Rousey and she's getting beat up by Alicia Fox on Monday Night Raw. In 9 minutes. If you can't take out Alicia Fox in half that time, how are you going to make me believe you could take out Lacey Evans? Ridiculous. So, this one goes to a victory for Becky. Disarm her in 9 minutes. Trash. Alicia Fox came out there acting as if she was drunk. I don't know what the fuck she was doing. She was doing one of these deals. I don't know if she was trying to be a fucking drunk cat. I don't know. Either way you looked at it, it was terrible. Right after the tap out, Becky's music hit. Lacey came out of nowhere and hit Becky with a women's right. Now, Lacey connected with the women's right, and Becky no-sold the shit out of it. She stood up, she looked at Lacey, and then realized, oh, fuck, she hit me with this shitty finishing move. I should fall to the fucking ground. Then Lacey hit it again, and it was no better than the first time. So for all you Lacey Evans apologists, all you Lacey Evans marks out there, the woman can't do wrong. I should respect her because she's a military background. She served our country. That doesn't excuse her from having the worst finishing move in the history of pro wrestling. In fact, all finishing moves like hers should be fucking done for forever. They are complete garbage. That women's right is absolutely fucking awful. If that ends up beating Becky Lynch, I feel sorry for whoever is in that division. I really do. I don't believe I have to watch Becky Lynch potentially put this fucking woman and this finishing move over. I don't get it. I don't get it. You think I'm bullshitting you? WWE has a type. They have a type. Whether you like blue eyes and blonde, whether you like brunettes, whether you like them on the chubby side or you like them fucking model stick thin, it doesn't matter. WWE has a type. Their type is big-breasted blondes. Simple. Simple. That's not sexist. I'm not speaking out my ass. You're not going to hear this from anybody else because everybody's a fucking pussy when it comes to this shit. WWE has a type. WWE couldn't wait for Money in the Bank to get their newest big-breasted blonde in Money in the Bank for their championship match against Becky Lynch. Now ask yourself, does it make sense that this woman's getting a title shot for doing absolutely nothing and not putting her in the Money in the Bank ladder match is the right decision? Don't you think the right decision would have been Lacey Evans to win the Money in the Bank briefcase as a fucking heel? No, but she gets a title shot for being fucking natty. Ridiculous. But there'll be people out there that are like, I'm negative. I'm complaining. You don't like it? Don't fucking click play. Ricochet versus the glorious Robert Roode. I didn't know what the fuck was going on here. I had a friend of mine send me a WWE.com exclusive with what looked to be a mixture of Joey Ryan and Silas Young. This is the bastard child of Joey Ryan and Silas Young. Robert Roode. The memes of Robert Roode with the Brazzers logo is now trending on Twitter. I want to sit here and tell you that at first glance, I thought this was fucking god-awful. And then I looked at it, and then I looked at it some more, and I looked at it again, and it really was glorious. And then I seen it was trending on Twitter, and then he beat Ricochet. I think this gimmick is going to work for him. I really do. I really do. For all the people out there who said Ricochet is one of those guys that is going to be at the top of Monday Night Raw, I agree with you. 100%. The guy is world championship material. For everybody tonight that complained that Ricochet lost, get over yourself. Get over yourself. Ricochet is a made man. WWE has booked Ricochet since February. As strong as they possibly could, which to me is surprising in its own right, because normally when they come up from NXT, they get buried. We're lucky that they didn't cut his name in half and call him Rico and pair him with Primo and Epico. Oh! Rico, Primo, Epico. Could have been a fucking trifecta down in Puerto Rico selling timeshare. One could be the fucking concierge, one could be the fucking bellhop, and Rico could have been the one to put the nice little mint on your fucking pillow. Yes, come on in. That's what WWE should have. That's what they were going to do. I would not be surprised if they did that. But they did. They did. So we got Ricochet losing tonight to Robert Roode. This is great. Ricochet's a made man. In all seriousness, Ricochet's a made man. Since February, they've been building him up as the real deal. They've been booking him strong. They haven't lost a match on Monday Night Raw. Him and Aleister Black. This was his first legit loss on the main roster. And it needed to happen here. Ricochet is a perfect sacrificial lamb here because Bobby Roode, Robert Roode, whatever the fuck you want to call him, he's got this new shtick. He's got the new mustache. He's got the new look. He's got this new heel persona that is not exactly what we've seen in NXT, but a heel Bobby Roode is the right Bobby Robert. I got to get used to the shit. A heel Robert Roode is the best. Is the right direction for Robert Roode. Simple as that. So he needed a win here. You can't establish this new gimmick with the new look and then go out there on your first night and lose. Ricochet was a premier opponent for him to say, oh shit, this guy could be on his way to something here. And I think the little subtlety of the mustache, you know, sometimes it only is something like this, a small tweak to an appearance or a small tweak to, you know, a character like this is all you really need. I mean, I'm looking at him and I'm getting vibes of ravishing Rick Rude without all the gyrating and without pulling the women into the fucking ring and kissing them, making their nights, having their panties wet. Or Rick Rude fucking calling out a fat sweat hog in the crowd and calling him a slob. Which was great. which you can't see anymore right now because forget it, WWE would be fucking blown up on social media. Oh, how could you? This is morally wrong. How could you disrespect women? It's great. Ravishing Rick Rude calling a fucking fat heifer in the third row a fucking sweat hog was brilliant television. And if you don't think so, man, why even call yourself a wrestling fan? I got that Ravishing Rick Rude vibe just by his look alone. His fucking mustache was trending on social media. It's great. Absolutely great. This is something that could transcend his character. And I said it on Off the Script. You guys can go back and watch me talk about it when I talk about the shakeup. Bobby Roode as a heel on Monday Night Raw, if done correctly and built up and given time, could be a guy that could be a force as a top heel on Monday Night Raw for the Universal Championship. Whether that's against Seth Rollins, whether that's against Ricochet, whether that's against AJ Styles. It could work. And I hope WWE continues to book him in a strong manner like this. Maybe some more tweaks somewhere down the line where he's dressing all prim and proper, and he's got the fucking $5,000 suits on and the snakeskin shoes. And he's calling people's wives fucking, yeah, honey, why don't you come over here and be with a real man type of guy. That's what we need to see. Hopefully we do. You give Bobby Roode the ball, the guy is still talented and good enough to be a top-level heel. He did it in NXT, and that was not that long ago. You let him go, you got another top-level heel on the show. A top-level heel that you desperately need right now because you don't have anyone. You had it in Andrade, you moved them over to SmackDown. Drew McIntyre ain't getting the job done. Baron Corbin's not getting the job done. Who do you got? Bobby Roode could be your guy. Samoa Joe, I doubt they're going to give it to him. He could be the guy too. But then again, I don't expect WWE to go all TNA with their main event heels. We'll see. Bobby Roode, Robert Roode, whatever you want to call him now and go by. He wins with the glorious DDT. Glorious DDT. That came off Ricochet. Missing the 630, rolled through it. Roode avoided him, threw Ricochet into the corner turnbuckle. Right in the middle turnbuckle, sternum first. Glorious DDT for the win. There was a line by Corey Graves, and he mentioned, this is how babies are born. Just by looking at Bobby Roode and his mustache, this is how babies are born. Michael Cole and Renee Young could not hold their laughter back. It was fun. Bobby Roode's mustache and Sami Zayn were the best parts of Monday Night Raw. Believe that? Unreal. Then we get into something that I legitimately sat in front of my television like this. As if I was watching a fucking tragedy unfold on my fucking television live in real time. We get a Firefly Funhouse skit that aired with Bray Wyatt. Bray Wyatt came out, new look, new act, new wardrobe. By the way, before I even mention anything, Bray Wyatt looks absolutely fucking phenomenal. He looks better than ever. So for all the fucking cretins on social media who continue to troll him via Instagram and via his girlfriend's Instagram, no matter what they did and how wrong it was, how could Bray Wyatt get someone like JoJo? Now you see. Now you see. And if you get up off your ass and fucking take the fucking cheese puffs out of your mouth, you might be looking like Bray Wyatt too. By the way, Baron Corbin made fun of everybody, which I'll get to, I think. Did he cut a promo? I don't know. I think he cut a promo calling everybody, or the WWE fans, basement dwellers who sit at their computer and type away negatively or something like that. I don't know if he said that after this or before it. Who cares? WWE has this thing about them where they love to make fun of their fucking audience. Anyway. Firefly Funhouse skit. And he came out very reminiscent of Mr. Rogers. And he played a kids' TV show host. Did you miss me, he says. Because I missed you. He's using the same name, Bray Wyatt. Nothing's changed as far as the name goes. He walked into a set of a kids' TV show with kids cheering in the audience. He then broke into a slight ominous demeanor and introduced scary-looking dolls, the Buzzard and the doll that we've seen in these promos. Mercy the Buzzard and Abby the Witch are their names. Meant to scare kids, but presented straight as if they were fun to be around. He says that he had been barbarically punished for his wrongdoings, but that part of him is dead. He will never become that pathetic slob, loser, ever again. Then he showed a cardboard cutout of himself as the former Bray Wyatt, wearing the Texas Chainsaw Massacre fucking apron with the blood on it, and the old Wyatt gimmick. He then takes a chainsaw and he slices the cardboard cutout of himself in half. Kids cheered. He said he will always light the way for his Fireflies as long as they let him in. He closed with a happy wave and said, "See you next week." And this ominous kid jingle started playing in the background. Now, this is one of those things that I mentioned in the beginning of the review that I just got this feel over the entire show that I wanted to shit on this immediately, but I didn't want to at the same time. Because I actually enjoy Bray Wyatt. And I've always enjoyed Bray Wyatt. But the fucked up thing is, we would have never been to this point of his career if WWE hadn't fucked up. Bray Wyatt itself. Remember Bray Wyatt. The rocking chair and the fucking Hawaiian shirts and the hat that he used to wear. The whole gimmick. The whole southern gimmick that he had. Him in the swamps and him talking as if he's some sort of prophet. That was one of the most intriguing, interesting gimmicks that WWE has ever given anybody. That was a straight dusty fucking gimmick. A Dusty Rhodes gimmick. And Bray Wyatt was so great at what he did. He brought that fucking shit to life. He made you believe in everything that he was saying when we first seen that gimmick. I couldn't wait to see that gimmick get up off the ground. And every year after that, when he got called up from NXT, WWE ruined him. Some of the worst booking a pro wrestler in this company has ever seen. Losses to John Cena, constant burials from Roman and the Shield. Nothing has ever gone right. He finally had his fucking revenge on everybody by winning the WWE Championship. And he went to WrestleMania in one of the worst WrestleMania matches I have ever seen with Randy Orton, which lasted about 9 minutes. Fucking god-awful. He lost the title to Randy Orton. And that was it. Bray Wyatt never recovered after that. They just didn't know what to do with him. Or maybe it was a case in which they did not care for Bray Wyatt anymore. Because they know they fucked up so badly that the effort to make this guy relevant again wasn't even worth it. And they were waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting for something to where they could say, you know what, a reset is fucking needed. And here we are. We got a reset for Bray Wyatt. Is it the reset that everybody wanted? Probably not. But is it the reset that he desperately needed? Yes. I didn't expect him to be fucking Pee Wee Herman all over again. But if Bray Wyatt was as good as he was with his original gimmick, I think he's going to nail this one out of the park. It is so fucking weird and bizarre and creepy that I want to continue seeing what he does next. I didn't like it at first glance, but I seen some glimpses of, you know, him being all nice and proper, but I seen that psychotic side of him in the most creepiest fucking way come out. As if he's like some fucking killer clown, like he's a clown in the circus, and he wants to make kids smile, but behind closed doors, he's this vicious, evil fucking soul that is just gonna fucking torture everybody. I just get that sense of, I want to see more. It sucks, and it's not like anything we've seen or expected from this guy, but I want to see more. I don't know, man. We'll see what happens. We'll see where it goes. That's all I could say. I did not expect to see him so soon. I did see a picture of him floating around on social media. I did not expect to see him on Monday Night Raw, but I don't know, man. Again, it's one of those things where I wanted to shit on it, but at the same time, I'm watching it. I'm like, I don't, because I want to see more. And I think with how good he is, I honestly think he deserves an opportunity to show us what he's got. Now, as far as the gimmick goes, I don't know if this is WWE creative or if this is the brainchild of a fucking Bruce Pritchard or some of the new creative team members, or if this is a thing that Bray Wyatt has concocted and they're giving him the ball and making him run with it. I don't know. It's going to be interesting to find out who is the brainchild behind this gimmick. Hopefully we'll find out this week. Main event, Baron Corbin versus AJ Styles, #1 contendership. AJ Styles wins in 13 minutes. He wins with the phenomenal forearm. Nothing special here. Nothing special here. AJ Styles wins with the phenomenal forearm. After the match, Seth came out, shook his hand, and they had a stare down to close Monday Night Raw. Now, I expected Baron Corbin to win this match for whatever reason. I expected Baron Corbin to go on to Money in the Bank and fight Seth Rollins for the Universal Championship. Because, like I mentioned in the beginning, WWE has those 2 ladder matches to pretty much offset the entire show, where they have the option on putting on something a little bit less important as far as the championship matches go. But they didn't do that. They came out all guns blazing here for Money in the Bank. Styles was just drafted to Monday Night Raw. I assumed he was going to be pushed to the moon on Monday Night Raw because they moved Roman Reigns over to SmackDown. He established that SmackDown is his yard. AJ comes over. You got to replace Roman in a big way. They did that with AJ. I didn't expect them to give us AJ versus Seth Rollins right away at Money in the Bank. When everybody was saying this is a WrestleMania match, I can't wait to see what Styles and Rollins do eventually. People were saying, well, if it's not WrestleMania, they could certainly visit it at SummerSlam. SummerSlam needs a big main event in Toronto. This could have been looked at as that. But here we are at Money in the Bank, and we're getting AJ versus Seth immediately coming out of WrestleMania. Why is that? Is it because AJ deserves it? Could be. AJ deserves it. One of the best guys in the entire company. Top tier talent, right? He has never won the Universal Championship. He's been the WWE champion for many, many, many days over on SmackDown Live. Or is it WWE has Money in the Bank happening a week before Double or Nothing, which takes place in Las Vegas? And WWE wants to... I'm not necessarily saying WWE is scared of AEW or intimidated by AEW. I'm simply saying the reason why WWE went with AJ Styles instead of a Drew McIntyre or Samoa Joe, or, by the way, I didn't really like Samoa Joe losing in the opening match. I don't understand why Rey Mysterio couldn't take the pin, why Joe as champion has to continue to lose. I failed to mention that before, I'm just thinking about it now. Why? The man as United States champion, I don't think has gotten a win outside of the match with Rey Mysterio, which was 60 seconds at WrestleMania. I'm not saying that WWE is intimidated by AEW. I'm not saying that WWE is afraid. I'm not saying AEW is going to put WWE out of business. But don't you think WWE is in their competitive nature right now? They're not going to outwardly say that they are, but they are. WWE is having a pay-per-view a week before AEW has their first show ever, which, by the way, looks great on paper. Brother versus brother, Cody versus Dustin, Jericho versus Omega. You got MJF versus Joey Janela, Hangman versus Pac, the Lucha Bros versus the Young Bucks. That's a solid fucking card. I don't give a shit what WWE does. They are in their competitive nature, whether they want to admit it or not. They are doing AJ Styles and Seth Rollins right now because they want to show up AEW a week before they do Double or Nothing. They want to be the best pay-per-view in the month of May. That's why they're giving you this match, a WrestleMania match at Money in the Bank, a match that could have been billed as the SummerSlam main event, which still very well could be, but at that point I'm not going to be interested in it. At SummerSlam, they're doing it in May. That's why. And if you don't think so, you're a fool. It might not be the outward, reason for it to happen, but it's there. It might not be talked about internally by WWE, but they're not going to tell you that. You're never going to find that out. But you'd be a fucking fool to think that they don't have at least AEW or Double or Nothing in the back of their mind, and they're like, well, how can we show these guys up? They want to come in like a fucking, house on fire here for Double or Nothing in Las Vegas. How can we show them up? That's right. AJ Styles versus Seth Rollins for the Universal Championship. Two legit guys who could honestly be in the top 10 in the fucking world at this business. I'm not changing my mind on that. Now, what I hope doesn't happen here is WWE gives us this match, and then gives us this match again in Saudi Arabia, and then gives us this match again at Extreme Rules, and then gives us this match again at SummerSlam. I don't think WWE is built to give me a storyline between Styles and Rollins that lasts all the way to SummerSlam. I don't know if WWE is going to be able to build up a credible heel to battle either one of these guys on Monday Night Raw and make me care. That's also another issue. Hopefully by that point, Money in the Bank has a winner in which we can look at as, you know what? I want him to be the fucking world champion, whether that's Ricochet or Andrade or Aleister Black. Money in the Bank's ladder match for the men may be the greatest Money in the Bank match ever with the amount of talent they have on these shows. I hope they go into this, unlike they did last year with fucking Braun Strowman and Alexa Bliss. I hope they go into it this year, having that winner come out and be the next fucking guy. You have 3 weeks to decide on who you want to be the next fucking flag bearer for this company. Any one of those guys will do. Any one of those guys would make a damn good fucking main event for SummerSlam. But my reason why Seth Rollins and AJ Styles is happening so soon, when this is a match that could have been built up with great importance around it, I'm looking at it as if it's a forced fucking match just to fucking push AEW's buttons back. That's the way I'm looking at it. I'm all for the dream match. Believe me, I want to see what these two men could do in the ring. But how many times have WWE presented a match like this as a dream match, and how many times have we said that and been let down? We've been let down with Joe. We've been let down with Nakamura. Now this is Rollins' opportunity. Is he going to do anything different? Yeah, the dream match is there. I'm sold on the dream match. It's about the story that you're going to tell with these guys. What is the story you got for AJ and Rollins? There is none. There is none. What could it possibly be? The only story that I see is WWE forcing a main event for a pay-per-view in May that is 1 week before All Elite Wrestling. That's the story. We'll see what happens. I'm getting out of here. Thank you guys so very much. This has been Monday Night Raw Review. If you missed anything that I uploaded on the channel, please make sure you guys go and check that out. At any point, it's there for you guys. This week, we had AEW possibly grabbing Luke Harper. Moves on the shakeup. We talk about it. Sasha, Saudi Arabia, was it the real deal? We go over that as well. Also, we had Road Dogg stepping down and now going on an extended leave of absence. So make sure you guys go and check all that stuff out. Plus the Shield's final chapter, a complete joke, man. Everything you need is linked in the annotation that you see in the top right corner of the screen. Social media, at JD from NY206, both on Twitter and Instagram. Hit that subscribe button down below. Patreon.com/JD from NY206. Audibletrial.com/offthescript. And JDs Elite. Bonfire.com is the home. Go get your shirt today. Link is down in the description of this very video, man. I will be back tomorrow afternoon with an extra right here on the CM Punk situation. I'll give my thoughts on that. Why Andrade and Aleister Black moved over to Monday Night Raw and what I think of that. Also, my thoughts on Dustin Rhodes finally landing in AEW and my thoughts on the match that is now official. Dustin versus Cody for Double or Nothing, man. Hit that thumbs up and I will see you right back here tomorrow with more content right here on the channel. Good night, guys. Take care, and I'll see you tomorrow for OTS